I confirm I have read the Book of Daniel in its entirety. Schofield, 1909, 2002. As a student of Liberty University's Masters of Professional Counseling program, I'm learning the differences between ethical, legal, professional, and personal values. In pursuing the profession of counseling, I'm required to wrestle with these differences through studying the American Counseling Association's Code of Ethics and reflecting on my personal values as they relate to them. To become a professional counselor with a Christian worldview, I'm further tasked to integrate my spiritual beliefs to the standards of the counseling profession while maintaining ethical competency to render services to those who do not espouse a Christian worldview. When studying the ACA Code of Ethics, I found the expectation of advocacy on a societal level, Section A7A, to be a requirement I did not feel responsible to meet. In our course text, the authors argue that becoming a counselor necessarily includes an obligation to make society more fair and just. Rimley, Herlihy, 2020. While I would certainly agree that having a fair and just society is an admirable goal and itself does not conflict with my personal beliefs, at first I believe this social burden for counselors to be really beyond the scope of the profession. I recently, however, had opportunity to reflect on advocacy which I've personally taken in my role as a Stephen Ministry training leader. Not long ago, I learned about resources for the blind in order to accommodate a ministry trainee with blindness. The trainee was stepping out in faith towards a ministry he wasn't sure that he could provide or that he could participate in because of his blindness. In attempting to create a way for him to fully participate, I really learned how difficult Braille materials are to come by, especially educationally. And in attempting to create a way for him to really be part of the whole process, there were just lots of obstacles that had to be overcome, such as providing emails in a format that his device readers could interpret, or changing the way that I taught by giving verbal descriptions of any graph or written things that I might have provided during the course of training. There were just numerous obstacles, changing his ability to participate fully, and I found myself with a growing passion for making sure that we provided what he needed. It sparked in me a desire to inform others about the needs for materials for the blind, and I realize now that basically I was advocating at a societal level in this situation. So point taken, ACA. I was also challenged to think about my responsibilities as part of a society that no longer shares Christian values when reading Daniel. Daniel provides so many excellent examples in evaluating values. He stood firmly for important personal issues such as not defiling his body, yet there's no mention made of advocating against the other social norms, which for him had no really eternal significance, like being renamed according to a pagan god. Moody Publishers in 2018. Daniel somehow harmonized his deeply held beliefs with the realities of living in a society that was against those beliefs. In doing so, he even saved the lives of pagan wise men by advocating for when their lives were threatened. Schofield, Daniel 2:24. Recalling my experience in studying the book of Daniel have helped me to understand how my personal values, advocating, and my Christian beliefs can be harmonized with the ethical guideline to advocate when appropriate. In fact, I can think of several areas I might wish to advocate as a professional counselor. I do still, however, have conflicts with some ACA codes which I will have to work through. For example, the disclosure guidelines for those who cannot give consent, such as minor children, in Section B5B. The Code of Ethics qualifies the ethical disclosure responsibility to respect parents' rights with the phrasing according to the law. In my state, unfortunately, the laws have changed to effectively remove parental rights in medical treatment and disclosure. The medical privacy and autonomy of minor children over the age of 12 has been legally established and prioritized. This bill removes a counselor's ethical decision-making ability in deciding treatment options and to share information with parents. This is Washington State Legislature's code, it's a state bill 5904. The ACA Code of Ethics must make this qualification because breaking the law would be considered potentially unethical just on its own. However, counselors must decide if following the law conflicts with the foundational ethic of do no harm. Providers must legally provide services, even knowing a minor child is not developmentally able to understand the permanent consequences of their choices, such as having an abortion, taking hormone supplements or other prescriptions, receiving contraceptives, treatment for sexually transmitted diseases, or having sex change surgery. The process to work through this conflict for me is twofold. The first is that I have to consider my personal boundaries for pursuing licensure in a state that has removed parental rights and counselor ethics in my profession. Secondly, I will need to use the ethical decision-making model to really thoroughly process the implications for practicing in this state, or any state for that matter, where I'm going to have to discover the consequences for the various decisions I might make regarding this issue. This process will necessarily be very prayerful for me, as the implications of my career and any future clients is obviously very significant. Thank you.